Welcome to the Brian Craig Show podcast. This is where MAGA comes to talk. President Trump was absolutely amazing today, wasn't he? I got off the air, and after I got off the air this morning at the radio station, I had a meeting. I didn't have any news on or anything, and I leave the meeting. I get in my car, and I immediately turn on Fox News in the car. They got Dana Perino on there, and they are so giddy. They're trying to contain themselves, right? They're trying to contain themselves, but they can't hide the smile in their voice. They think that the Supreme Court of the United States just took down President Trump. And I talked to a few people, and everyone's like, "Oh well, they got a victory." People got getting depressed over. I said, "Don't worry." I said Trump will come out later today, pretty soon. We're going to see him on True Social. We're going to see him at the White House. He's going to come out and he's going to tell us what's going on because he always has a plan. And he had a plan in case the Supreme Court struck down the tariffs, the import taxes. He'd have a plan. He'd have an alternative. And sure enough, he comes out in the White House press briefing room. And not only did he call out the Supreme Court of the United States, but he announced that we're going to have all the tariffs that we currently have, and he's adding another 10% just to show who the boss is. And the boss's name is Donald John Trump. He's the 45th and 47th president of the United States. And as President Trump often says, you may have heard of him. Have you heard of him? Of course you have. And you certainly heard today. It was just a beautiful press conference that he had at the White House. Eric Trump said a few years ago, during the Autopen times when they were shooting President Trump and arresting him and things all the time, he said, "My father is at his best when you think he's down. That's when you see the best." And he's got everything he wanted and more. And not only that, President Trump's like, "Yeah, this is a good thing. Now the Supreme Court is established, I have all these authorities," which is the opposite of what all the pundits were saying. Dana Perino, do you know that Dana Perino was paid $50 million a year? What about her is worth $50 million a year? But she was on Fox and had this group, and they were talking, and someone had said, I couldn't tell who it was because I was listening in the car. I wasn't seeing it. And someone was talking about, well, the economy's doing so well with the tariffs, and now it's going to be. And then Dana Perino says, I would argue that the economy is doing well in spite of the tariffs. What a jerk she is. Bet she takes all those Trump taxes. But anyway, so no, the Supreme Court didn't slow down Trump at all. The Supreme Court didn't reverse anything. What the Supreme Court did was not only firm up what President Trump has been doing in regards to tariffs, he upped all the tariffs another 10% around the world, so we're going to be making even more money. We are so lucky. We are so blessed to be living right now in the United States. It's always a great time to be an American, but we've never had a president of the United States who stood up for the United States and the people of the United States like this man does. And I want to play some of the clips from the Trump press conference today, and you're welcome to call in with your thoughts, and I look forward to hearing from you all as well on the program. By the way, this is the Brian Craig Show podcast. This is where MAGA comes to talk. The Brian Craig Show is available wherever you get your podcast. If you want to catch the show live in video form, that's on YouTube. Just search for The Brian Craig Show. But the audio version is available on all podcast platforms. Just search for The Brian Craig Show. So President Trump, it was just masterful. And he was talking about foreign interest, having influence over the Supreme Court. The thing about Washington, see, the Washington and the Supreme Court, they go along with this a lot of them. You hear about the permanent Washington class, right? They believe that they are the true Americans and it is their country to rule. They believe they're the nobility. And Donald Trump, in their view, is not a part of their nobility class. He's an outsider. Yeah, he may have a lot of money, but they still view him as an outsider and as a serf, a servant. He's not to be involved in. They're doing everything they can do to try to stop him. And what they have not learned in the almost dozen years that he's been on the public stage is that nothing they can do is going to stop this man. He always thinks so many steps ahead. So I'm going to go through some of the clips of the press conference today. Here's a good one.
You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately,
here we go,
all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged.
Wow.
And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
So
look at the deficits that we have.
So what he announced there is all the tariffs that he has ordered will stay in place, and he's raising them 10% globally, everywhere. And that's it now. That's it. It's done. This is after the Supreme Court ruling. Now let me ask you guys, when you first heard this story today with the Supreme Court ruling, did you ever doubt that President Trump had a plan, and by the end of the day we were going to find out that we were better off and he was better off and the country was better off than before the ruling? You've always got to trust in Trump. He's so much smarter than all of these corrupt idiots. And the White House press briefing, too, today, those of you watching live on YouTube, they had different lighting in there, didn't they? I don't know if I've ever seen that lighting. It was almost like nighttime lighting. It was lit for drama, and it was a very important, of course, press conference.
The Supreme Court justices who ruled against this the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union next week? And will you speak with them?
They are invited, barely. Barely. 3 are happily invited. No, they're barely invited. Honestly, I couldn't care less if they come, okay?
Exactly. Who cares? You know, they put all this importance on the Supreme Court as if they're some special people. And, you know, what we've learned from the federal courts that we've seen over the past years, that the permanent Washington class have been running an insurrection, a rebellion against the President of the United States, and they've been doing it through federal judges, the Supreme Court and circuit court federal judges. It's been a judicial coup that's been going on for a year in this country. An insurrection. They're interrupting government business.
So, since Liberation Day, there's about $175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write it.
Oh, hold on. Let me rewind that. I'm not sure I had it queued up. Hold on a second here, guys.
Trump. So, since Liberation Day, there's about $175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion.
Exactly.
And they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective, It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. I said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that.
Yeah, they left it out of the ruling, so there's no refunds. The tariffs remain in place. He raised them globally 10%, and all the money we get to keep. Yeah. And when I heard the smile in the voices of the pundits when this first came out, they didn't even understand. They didn't even understand what the ruling said at all. But they were making all these pronouncements. That what they were doing is what these Trump haters do, wishful thinking. They were trying to manifest a defeat. I never doubted it. I knew that at some point today, whether it was a post on Truth Social or a press conference, that President Trump was going to come out and he had won today. I just knew that. And I was right. And I know a lot of you thought the same thing, too. You knew it, too.
Just so you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way.
That's right.
And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well.
Okay, and you know, this extra 10% that he added on, so all the tariffs are staying in place, and he added 10% on top of it. So what that is about a couple of things. It's one, it's letting the world know he's the president, he's in charge. It's also letting these judges know, you mess around, you're going to find out, right? F-A-F-O. And it's a message to them. And his message is, you keep playing this business, it's going to get worse. So stay out of my business. Stay in your lane, your branch of government. Stay out of the executive branch. I'll run the government. Thank you very much.
Just so you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way.
Okay.
And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well.
Yeah, and this guy with his toy company, whatever tariffs he's dealing with China, well, they've just been increased by 10%, okay? Oh, man. This is the greatest president ever, isn't it? The greatest ever.
Well, sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way. And we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time. But the end result is going to get us more money. And I think it's going to be great. Yeah.
You know, it's almost like President Trump planned it this way. It's almost like he put through the original tariffs in the way that he did so that he could get a ruling from the Supreme Court that would firm up his authority to enact tariffs. I mean, this is, you know, it's almost like that ruling, like, this is exactly what he wanted. Maybe not almost, maybe it is exactly what he wanted.
No, you
Hear the press, I mean, they're just going nuts because they think they finally got a victory on Trump.
No, you please. I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news.
Sorry, Caitlin Collins. She thought she's going to get her question in. No questions for you, Caitlin Collins. Don't you love it? Yeah. They don't deserve questions. Asking the President of the United States a question is a privilege, not a right. By the way, if you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in and you're watching live on YouTube, the number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. This is, I know some of you will think, oh, you're spinning. No, he just announced that the tariffs are all remaining in place, and he raised them all globally 10%. So how is that not a victory? How is that not a victory for Trump, MAGA, and our country?
We really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. But they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months. And that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world. If you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world had some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army.
Yep.
We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, at some point you're going to say, and they have reduced it. Fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is our strong border. We have a strong border now.
There you have it. There you have it. Now, you see what he said? Now we have certainty, and he's talking about economic certainty because this was hanging out there. Does the president have tariff authority? Can he do this? What will the future hold? The financial markets, so much of the financial markets are based on future expectations. And what the president is saying, the Supreme Court sat on this so long, the financial markets did not know what the future was going to hold. And by the way, let me see here. It's let me see what the end of the day with the Dow. Let's see where we are. The Dow was up. The Dow closed up 230 points. So we're up 230 points on the Dow after President Trump came out and said the tariffs are still in place and I'm adding 10% to them globally. And the Dow Jones closed up for the whole weekend, by the way. If you're new to the program, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. And all of you out there watching, if you could please like the video. Liking the video helps grow the channel by leaps and bounds. It really does. When you like the video, it gets the program recommended to people that have not yet found the show. And those of you that have been using that new boost feature on YouTube, those who know what it is, know what it is. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And if you continue to do that, that'd be awesome too. All right, back to our favorite president.
You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago.
Oh, yes.
They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came, and Japan and Germany. But they're all coming back now. They're all coming back at record levels.
Yeah. He saved the American economy. Yesterday when the president was in Rome, Georgia, at that steel plant, you heard the guy talk. He talked twice. He talked to the press before the event, and then he went up on stage with the president. And he was on the verge of going out of business. The way I compared it when I was talking about it this morning on the morning show was it was like the steel mill town in Allentown, the song by Billy Joel. They were about to go out of business. He was running a couple of shifts a week. They were working part-time. Now he has more business than his plant has the capability of handling. And it's because of the tariffs that the president put on imported steel. He only works with American steel, and on other goods from other countries. His plant makes a lot of tire racks. And cheap tire racks were coming in overseas and without the tariffs, and now the people that purchase tire racks are buying them from him. And think about all those good-paying jobs that those Georgians have because of the tariffs. He not only saved the economy, saved the country in so many ways, he's given people their good-paying jobs back.
In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way, they'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court, pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but that's the way it is.
That's right.
Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years. To the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs. And essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, you know, there were a lot of questions.
See, now that's the Emergency Powers Act, okay? When you keep talking about IEEPA. And he can declare emergency powers because there's a national security threat. It's an economic threat by these companies ripping us off, and these countries ripping us off and being dependent on other countries for basic goods, including medicines.
About tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariffs authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
See that? All the tariffs remain in place, and he just raised them 10% globally. There you go. There you did it. Blame that guy with the toy company. He's the one that did it. You know, another thing, too, for people out there that think this was some kind of loss for Trump, does he look like he lost something to you? Doesn't look like he lost to me. He looks like he's on top of the world.
Country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction, probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%, but now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so well, you have to see.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him. Wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't, he's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301. And the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear. But it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability.
Yeah, I mean, this is, see how well researched Trump and his team are? They were ready for this. Excuse me. All right, I'm going to take a quick break, come back. If you're on hold, stand by. I've got some more clips from the president's press conference today, and some other things we're going to touch on, too, that you will not want to miss. It's the Brian Craig Show. My name is Brian. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back right after this.
In the cold silence of space, some battles are fought with weapons. Others are fought with memory, loyalty, and blood. From author Alan Grangenet comes the powerful military sci-fi space opera where family and fate collide. Galilee Rising, Two Brothers, Two Ships, One Reckoning. Available on Amazon. In Galilee Rising, two brothers are torn apart by violence. Each believes the other is gone forever. One becomes a relentless hunter, operating outside the law. The other rises within the ranks of a powerful interstellar fleet. Both are driven by justice. Both are shaped by loss. And both are moving toward a reckoning that could change the galaxy. Blending heart-pounding space combat with deep emotional stakes, Galilee Rising is a story of duty, revenge, redemption, and the cost of survival in a universe at war. Galilee Rising is available now on Amazon in Kindle, paperback, and free with Kindle Unlimited. Galilee Rising, Two Brothers, Two Ships, One Reckoning. From author Alan Grangenet. Order your copy right now on Amazon.
Hi, it's Dr. Philip Appleton. You've been hearing my commercials about bye-bye pain, my laser weight treatment, but today's commercial and today's spot is going to be on Tom Laporta, Laporta Roofing. What an experience I've had with him and his company. They've done a few of my friends' houses and my son and my house, and there's never a downtime. They're old school, which means you call them up, they'll be there. How many times have you called somebody up and they never show up, or they give you an excuse, weather, traffic, whatever? Tom Laporta, what a class act, the workmanship, the magnificent teamwork they have. I recommend them 100%.
Thanks, Dr. Appleton. Now do what Dr. Appleton did. Pick up your phone and call Tom Laporta from Laporta Roofing on your cell phone. 954-604-4602. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaRoofing.com. What if the most powerful city in the world doesn't rely on politics or wars, but on its image? The Shell is City novel series invites you into a parallel universe where fashion, luxury brands, and radical freedom shape a glittering utopia unlike anything you've seen before. A neutral city, no racism or homophobia. Genders are just fashion terms, and no one there has a defined ethnicity or even a last name. A liberated economy and innovation without limits. At the center,
stands Domania, the modeling empire, and its enigmatic CEO, Randall, who helped transform Shella into the city of beauty and elegance, launching it into a golden age of wealth and global influence. But in a world built on perfection and glamour, what could hide beneath? In this story, you'll find the models of Domania living their daily strive of image and compete internally, or attend the secret events held by Domania. If you're following today's news, you can guess what they're about. In every page of this story, ambition collides with loyalty. A war happens in Shella, but without weapons. It's literally called the Elegance War. Will Shella remain stable, or will the illusion begin to fracture? Find out when you read Shella City, available now on Amazon in Kindle and paperback, and free with Kindle Unlimited. Enter the city, decide what you believe. If you like fashion and reading fantasy, don't miss this. It's a story where first world problems become so catastrophic.
All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. It's the Brian Craig Show, available wherever you get podcasts. And of course, what we're doing is going through the president's press conference here. This was an amazing thing. And excuse me, guys, just to recap, the Supreme Court ruling came down. The immediate reporting was that the tariffs were thrown out. This is what happened when the Obamacare ruling came down. You remember this? When that ruling came down, CNN and the rest of the mainstream media announced that the Supreme Court struck down Obamacare. Remember that? And then found out the ruling was wrong. Well, today, the media, they were praising the Supreme Court for stopping Trump's tariffs. And then the president comes out in the afternoon and finds out that all the tariffs, thanks to the Supreme Court, that their ruling has said that all the tariffs can remain in place, and he raised them. So I'm just playing some of the highlights from his press conference today.
To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision.
That's right.
They've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries, but a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee.
Best president ever. Absolutely correct. I tell you, and I know that for a brief moment in time today, a lot of these trolls, these Democrats, Elizabeth Warren had her statement out there right away, celebrating what she thought was a defeat. And look what happened. Trump won yet again. You know, I often say, and I've said this since Trump came down the escalator, I'll never disagree with President Trump, except on one thing. I never get tired of winning, right? You guys agree with that? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Michael. I'm calling from Texas.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, I really did you see last week when President Trump increased the tariffs on Switzerland because their prime minister was mean to him? That seems pretty constitutional, right?
He can raise, according to the Supreme Court of the United States, he can bring tariffs on anyone. You know, this is where I'm confused about with you, okay?
Stupid. That wasn't the ruling
Excuse me, I'm speaking. This is what I'm trying to understand with you. You're an American. Why do you want countries around the world to rip off the United States with out-of-balanced import-export taxes? Why? No, that's a question, not an answer. Why do you try to find pleasure in other countries winning against the United States? What are you, a traitor?
How many times?
That's a question, not an answer. I asked a question. That's a question, not an answer. Answer my question.
It was a.
Why are you rooting for other countries? Why do you root for other countries and not your own? You want other countries to have out-of-balance import taxes, ripping us off with 200% tariffs, and you don't want us to have any. Why are you rooting for other countries' economies to rip off our economy? Why does that bring you pleasure? That's a question, not an answer. That is a question, not an answer. You don't have an answer, do you, you schmuck? Goodbye. I'm going to say that's the first time I've called someone a schmuck in my life. I've never called someone a schmuck before. I was thinking of something else, and my wife and I gave up profanity for Lent. Okay, so that filled in for something else I was going to say. Back to the greatest president.
I have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year.
Amazing.
They said you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board, he said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have. And together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%. When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into.
Okay, now see, this is what he's talking in particular about China. China was sending the ingredients to make fentanyl to Latin American countries where they would mix it all together, make fentanyl, bring it here, and kill Americans with fentanyl. President Trump used the tariffs to get China to agree to stop doing that. How many lives have been saved just on that one tariff alone deal that he made, President Trump?
Our country, to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. I guess there's nobody left to appeal to. Mm-hmm. But again, those 3 people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives, great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars.
Hundreds of billions of dollars, but they're trying to tell us that's bad for the economy. They're paying off and wiping out the deficit and saving lives by using tariffs to stop the importation of fentanyl that kills Americans every day.
The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities, as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed.
Yeah. And I'm glad he called out the corruption of the court and how they are swayed by their Washington friends and the donors and the parties that they attend and everything else.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing.
Yep.
And I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic.
Yeah.
They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long.
That's
I can
right.
assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a, frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices.
No doubt.
They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. But you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court, and it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it, but we still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud. And I think certain justices are afraid of that. They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it.
Yeah. Wow. I've never seen a president call out the Supreme Court like that. Have you? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Tyler. I'm calling from Tennessee.
All right, Tyler in Tennessee.
How many times a day do you beat your...
Okay. We're talking about President Trump and the tariffs. Now, Scott Bassett, who's amazing. How many of you'd be comfortable if Scott Bassett ran for president as MAGA? Wouldn't you like that? That'd be awesome, wouldn't it? That's right. And he spoke today, the Treasury Secretary, after the Supreme Court ruling.
I would also like to take a moment to address today's Supreme Court ruling, and I would note that I did not change a single word in my speech post the ruling.
Isn't that something?
President Trump will always put our national security and Americans first.
That's
and
right.
as I have said before, the president has multiple tools in his toolbox. Let's be clear about what today's ruling was and what it wasn't. Despite the misplaced gloating from Democrats, ill-informed media outlets, and the very people who gutted our industrial base, the court did not rule against President Trump's tariffs. 6 justices simply ruled that IEEPA authorities cannot be used to raise even $1 of revenue. This administration will invoke alternative legal authorities to replace the IEEPA tariffs. We will be leveraging Section 232 and Section 301 tariff authorities that have been validated through thousands of legal challenges. Treasury's estimates show that the use of Section 122 authority, combined with potentially enhanced Section 232 and Section 301 tariffs, will result in virtually unchanged tariff revenue.
Okay. Now, the reason I shared this with Scott Bessent, that's a lot of technical economic jargon, right? Yeah. But he's the Treasury Secretary. He knows about these things. But what he said in the beginning, he did not change one word of his speech before the ruling came out, which means that he and the president knew, the administration knew what the ruling was going to be. How they knew, who knows, but they knew. And they made plans at some time long before to counter what the Supreme Court attempted to do, which was to take part in this judicial coup against the President of the United States that has been going on for the last year through the federal judges. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. I'm going to take a break. I've got so much more to cover, too. Some big stuff coming up. We're not done. You're listening to the Brian Craig Show podcast. Remember, the Brian Craig Show is available wherever you get podcast. All right? Whatever podcast platform you listen to, you just search for the Brian Craig Show. I'll come up. If you want to catch the show live in video form, where you hear me taking the live calls, that's on YouTube. Go to YouTube and search Brian Craig Show. We'll be right back. On the line, we have Frank. He's a listener, and he's a client of Jupiter Joe Thomas. Frank, welcome. So, Frank, could you tell me how Jupiter Joe Thomas helped you?
What he's advertising today and putting out there is a fantastic product for people like me, and there's millions of people like me that want a good sound investment, and they want a good sound, caring, loving investment advisor, and that's Jupiter Joe. He's in the business for like 30 years, and he knows his business. Him and his family make you feel so comfortable. You sit down, and he gives you a real full analysis of what's going on and what he has to offer. And I got into these income streams, these streaming products, and I jumped on it right away. And when he told me what I'm going to get, and I'm getting it right now, and on one of them, I was amazed. He doubled what this other so-called investment advisor was offering me, and I'm jumping for joy.
Do what Frank did. Call Jupiter Joe Thomas right now. Schedule your no-charge consultation. Talk to Joe Thomas about annuities and be guaranteed income every month for the rest of your life. 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999 and online, jupiterjoe.com.
How would you like to take your child on a journey around the world without ever leaving home? You can do just that in the new coloring book from Mia. Let's Discover Oman, a cultural coloring book for kids ages 6 to 12, available on Amazon. This beautiful, calming coloring adventure introduces children to the traditions, markets, deserts, and family life of Oman through engaging, kid-friendly illustrations. Each one-sided page is designed for crayons, pencils, or markers. It's perfect for quiet, screen-free creativity while learning about fascinating culture. Whether your family is connected to Oman, loves traveling, or just wants meaningful creative time together, Let's Discover Oman is a wonderful gift for curious young artists. Order your copy right now on Amazon and inspire creativity, imagination, and discovery in your children. Let's Discover Oman, a cultural coloring book for kids ages 6 to 12 from Mia on Amazon.
For the first time ever, we're bringing you My Pillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our MyPillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our MyPillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. Okay, so we got to see the Tucker Carlson interview with Huckabee that he went to Israel for, and Huckabee cleaned Tucker Carlson's clock. He is really good, Huckabee. I haven't seen Huckabee really in action in a while, but he's very good. And he made Tucker look like a fool. You know, Tucker, who people are calling, a lot of people have been calling him for a while, Tucker Qatarlson for Qatar. But in the last couple of days, because he came up with this ridiculous incident that didn't happen in Israel, people are calling him Tucker Smollett. But in a few minutes, I'm going to play some of the clips of Huckabee with Tucker, and man, Tucker was humiliated by ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm AJ. I'm calling from Hamilton, Ontario.
Hey, Ontario. What's on your mind?
Bro, I want to be completely honest with you. The whole 6-3 rule in judging over Trump's tariffs, like, this is another way the Democrats are just trying to find their way around shit so they can do whatever the hell they want. And, yeah, I believe it's a bunch of bullshit because Donald Trump is just trying to do good for the country, you know? Honestly, in Canada right now, when the tariffs went up in Canada, right, the whole, like, Canada-United States border whole shit, and then that got taken away, honestly, like, that wasn't a bad thing. You know what the problem was? The problem was the stuck-up Canadians in our country that were saying, buy Canadian, buy this, buy that in order to avoid the tariffs, and then our fucking prime minister going around and making deals with Russia and China.
Yeah.
But honestly, my opinion from all this is that, like, I'm a Canadian citizen, right? I was born in Canada. But honestly, I think that we need to do more for, like, working relations with Canada, the United States, and even other countries, because if we're just going to keep up,
the American and Canadian people love each other. It's your corrupt government that we have the problem with.
I can tell you right now, man, by living up here, there's a lot of shit talk that comes up, like, from like bashing Americans.
Well, we have that here. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. We have that here. I mean, I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he was golfing, and this was in Palm Beach, and the airport where President Trump lands with Air Force One and Trump Force One is Palm Beach International Airport. And the state legislature just voted to change the name of the Palm Beach International Airport to Donald John Trump International Airport. And there was this guy on the golf course with Trump derangement syndrome, liberal American guy, losing his you-know-what over that very idea. So, yeah, you might have people talking S up in Canada about us and Trump, but we got a lot of liberal Americans doing the same. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. This is Nick out of Baltimore.
Hey, Nick.
I just wanted to chime in. There's this Supreme Court decision. What's really going to happen is Trump is really going to double and triple down.
Oh, yes.
With this is just great.
Absolutely.
But it really shows up. I tell you what, Gorsuch, Amy Coney Barrett, they're really a disappointment. I knew she was going to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But Kavanaugh. I pointed this out to my sister. Kavanaugh, his life was threatened, so he's really solid with Trump.
Oh, yeah, the liberals that stormed his house, yeah.
Oh, my God. But no, I'm not upset about this at all. Trump's got this. It's just going to be great. I mean,
and when this ruling came down, did you ever doubt before the press conference that Trump would come out and have this under control? I didn't.
Oh, no. I have complete trust and faith in Trump.
Absolutely.
And his team.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you, to everybody out there, this is great. It's going to be better. I mean, he said in his press. I love how he handled the press. By the way,
beautifully.
I love how he handled the press.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic. But what he said was, hey, you know, this should have been done at the first time, but you know, and it was in Kavanaugh's dissent.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Most of the tariffs stay in place. It's just certain ones he's going to have to redirect into another.
And he's added a 10% global tariff. So
right. So it's better.
It's more money.
It's better.
Trump always wins. Yeah. Always bet on Trump.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. You can never go wrong with Trump.
Nope.
And God.
That's right. All right, Nick. Good to hear from you.
Weekend.
You too. Take care. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey,
here we go.
My name is Ryan. I actually would not like to say where I'm calling from, if that's all right.
Okay. You don't want your parents to know you're at home and not working. I get it.
Was that supposed to be a subtle jab?
No.
I don't really get what you're saying.
No. It's not a jab, just reality. Anyway, what's on your mind?
Okay. I just had a question about something you said earlier. So you said you dislike the corruption of the Canadian government. I was wondering what you meant by that. What sort of corruption are you talking about?
Well, the Canadian government has been ripping off the United States since 1776, and you must be calling from the Great White North. But Canada has been completely subsidized by the United States. Their healthcare system that they're so proud of, their healthcare system works because we're paying for it. Canada is not paying their dues for the North American Defense Alliance that the United States and Canada have together. So they've been charging us over 200% tariffs on certain items, while we have done nothing but protect them and boost up their economy for over 200 years. I call that corruption.
Okay. All right. I can
Since you
respect
asked.
those points. So what are you saying that our current administration is not corrupt?
When you say our current administration, I don't know who you are. So do you mean
like the Trump administration is?
No, President Trump.
Basically,
President Trump is not corrupt. Or his administration, whatever corruption is, President Trump and his cabinet are the opposite.
Okay, what makes you say that?
I'm not here to be interviewed by you. Give me an example of President Trump's corruption. By the way, he doesn't take a salary, you know, first term or second term. Give me an example of President Trump's corruption.
All right, an example of President Trump's corruption. So he's a 36-time convicted felon. I'm sure you're expecting that one. He also has well over 20 sexual assault allegations against him.
Allegations? Like I made hold on a second. Allegations. I said, excuse me, when you, well, yes, you are. At the beginning of this call,
okay,
I said to you, you said, I don't want to say where I'm calling from. And I said, oh, you don't want your parents to know that you're at home instead of working. That was an allegation. Excuse me. That was
trying to have a conversation.
That was an allegation I made. Okay? Is an allegation mean it's true? I made an allegation against you that you're a loser living off your parents and not working. Does me saying that make it true? Think about that. Oh my goodness. All right. So Mike Huckabee was interviewed by Tucker Carlson in this, where Tucker came up with this Tucker Smollett incident in Israel, and Mike Huckabee humiliated Tucker Carlson on his own program, and that's really an amazing thing to do when you're the interviewer. To be humiliated by the person you're interviewing is an unusual thing to happen. The interviewer has an advantage. And Tucker was destroyed. Let's go through some of this. This is beautiful.
The president's being pushed. Why do you think a foreign leader was in the White House 7 times in 1 year? Are you okay with that?
Netanyahu he's talking about.
That's a lot.
Israel is not just a friend or an ally. It is a real partner. We have an incredible relationship with Israel in intelligence and in military, in culture, in values. To be shocked that the Israeli prime minister would have that many meetings. It's a lot. But I want to ask you the question. Do you think President Trump is weak enough to let Bibi Netanyahu push him into something that he doesn't want to do?
I don't. Look, I think, and I don't know, of course, the answer to every question, including this one, but I think that President Trump really doesn't like nuclear proliferation, and I don't think he wants Iran to have a bomb. I think he really sincerely means
I hope
that.
you don't want them to have a bomb.
Want them to have a bomb? I don't want anyone to have a bomb, including Israel. I don't know why we're okay with Israel having nuclear weapons. I'm not. I'm not okay with Pakistan having them. I'm not okay with Saudi having them. You know, the president.
You notice, see what Huckabee just did? Tucker didn't say that he didn't want Iran to have a bomb. He didn't say it. He doesn't want anybody to have them, but he didn't say Israel. He didn't say Iran. This is very highly skilled technique of Mike Huckabee. He's really good. And you can tell Tucker didn't like that. He didn't like that because I guess his Muslim friends, he can't be hating on Iran.
Some lunatics.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
You platformed a guy. You had him on your show, Tony Aguilar.
Don't platform anyone.
Well, you interviewed.
Not a liberal,
Tony
so I don't
Aguilar.
platform people.
Okay, you interviewed Tony Aguilar, who claimed that IDF soldiers killed a little boy in his presence.
Listen to this.
That didn't happen.
Okay.
It did not happen.
I don't know.
Let me give
I
you
don't
the
know
story.
if you know whether it happened or not.
Well, I
mean,
can tell you
he
why
was-
I know it didn't happen.
Okay.
Because we found that little boy less than a week later.
Oh my goodness. Boom. Body slam by Mike Huckabee. Ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, who is also former governor of Arkansas, Mike Huckabee, and a one-time Southern Baptist minister, Mike Huckabee. Mike Huckabee humiliated Tucker more than even Putin did. I mean, this was great. And I like how Mike Huckabee is just sitting back. He's like in a recliner, laying back in a recliner, totally relaxed. He's just there, you know, hey, yeah, well, I know we found that little boy, didn't I? And Tucker is sitting up, full, intense. Things aren't going well for Tucker.
Files, which I believe belong to the public, hidden for, quote, national security reasons. What would those national security reasons be, do you think?
Honestly, I think you've probably got more access to the White House sometimes than I do. You should ask them.
Well, but you're the government official representing that White House.
In Israel. And I represent the U.S. in Israel to the Israeli government from the U.S. government. But honestly, nobody has presented that to us.
Well, now
we have
that
a
you
pretty
know that
dynamic situation here. I don't know if you know that or not, but there's a lot going on in this part of the world. And frankly, that has not been top line item.
Files.
Wow. I mean, he's not even breaking a sweat. You know, I really feel bad to a certain extent because I used to like Tucker. I was always suspicious of him because he came from CNN, and before that he was, you know, before he was at Fox, he was at CNN and MSNBC and all that. But we all kind of grew to like him. But he's become this pro-Islamic, anti-Israel nutbag, and he's not the man we used to know. And this stunt that he pulled in Israel, where he claimed that the Israelis took his and his producers' passports, took them aside, and did all these things, nothing was further from the truth. And we'll get to that in a little bit.
Well, it really matters because you're saying, in fact, people in the United States are being called anti-Semites. A lot of them, including me, because they somehow don't believe that Israel has a right to this land.
Do you think Israel has a right to this land?
No, you haven't defined what the land is, and you haven't defined who Israel is. So I really don't know.
Really? The Bible tells us so. This is the land that God gave the Jews, the land of Israel. So, yes. But, you know, then again, he was, Tucker was looking to buy a house in Qatar. So, you know, maybe he's got some different ideas. But here he is telling the story.
And they're about to get on a plane and leave. In fact, we're late. We have to get out of there. We have a slot to get out. And security, whoever this is, won't let them go. So I don't really know what's going on at this point. I'm like, where are our guys? We got to get out of here. So one of them comes out and he says, that was the weirdest experience in my life. They asked me questions about the interview. Who did you speak to? Keep in mind, this was like 8 feet from where we did the interview. Well, the U.S. ambassador. I'm like, Huckabee, what did you talk about? Why did you ask those questions? Was it a hostile interview? And of course, everything in the diplomatic terminal is taped. Everything in Israel is taped. It's a police state. It's a surveillance state, obviously. You go to Israel, they put software on your phone.
So he goes to this long story, which you've heard reported the last few days, how he was taken into this room and harassed. And then the Israelis released the security footage, and you see he's here joking around with the officials, taking selfies with them. He's laughing. Tucker Smollett here's laughing. The Israelis are laughing. Nothing could be further from the truth. He was completely busted with his lie there. Why he lied, I don't know. Maybe he was so humiliated by Huckabee that he was trying to make something out of the interview. Here's another clip of Tucker being body slammed by Huckabee.
I wish that none of those people in Gaza had been killed after October the 8th. Well, I say not none of them. I'm glad Mohammed Sinwar was killed. I'm glad that some of those warriors, the people who masterminded and carried out the atrocities of October 7th.
14-year-old Hamas operatives, how do you feel about their deaths?
If they participated in that, then God help them. I'm telling you,
what does
Tucker,
that mean, God help
I don't know that they were 14 years. No, but I'm telling you that when someone commits the acts of atrocity,
that's right, terrorism,
and then they hold hostages, if these were your children being held hostage in Gaza, what would you do to get them out?
I wouldn't want to kill 14-year-olds. I'll tell you that.
Let me ask you something. Would you do whatever it took to get your kids back if they were being tortured, raped, starved,
I would
and
not
beaten?
kill children, period.
Well, I'm just telling you.
And I would never make excuses for killing children either.
And I'm not talking about...
What if those children are raping and murdering your children, right? Because that's what was going on.
Targeting children. I'm talking about...
You told me that 14-year-olds deserve to die because they were working for Hamas.
I'm telling you...
My question is, can you hear yourself?
I do hear myself.
So do you think a 14-year-old child has agency? Do you think that he deserves to die because he's being used by adults? Isn't his death a crushing tragedy?
If he's holding a gun and he's pointing it at someone who's trying to save a hostage, and the only way to save that hostage, I'm telling you, war is a horrible thing. It's a horrible thing. And a lot of innocent people
I'm the one who thinks war is a horrible thing.
No. I think what you don't
I'm trying to explain how horrible it is, and you're saying that the 14-year-old deserved to die.
If they're holding a gun and killing people, yeah, I mean, that's just the way it is, child soldiers. It's a sad thing, but it is a way of some of the things. This was really brutal for Tucker Carlson. He was put in his place many different ways by Huckabee. Those are just a couple of the clips. If you go and watch the full interview with Tucker, you can see more of it. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, we just talked. I wanted to...
That's one call per show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, hi, Brian. This is Kevin from Iowa.
Hey, Iowa. What's on your mind?
I appreciate your format. Fantastic.
Thank you.
A little background leading up to the 2016 election, when the press was pretty well saying it was going to be Hillary and Jeb Bush, and I told myself, if that's it, I'm done voting.
Yeah.
Never thought I'd say it, but I'm done voting. And then when Trump got on the stage, said he was running, and the first time I saw him on the Sunday show, and they started doing the interview, like what to do with everybody, gotcha questions, trying to interrupt, and Trump just said, hey, no, you let me answer the question. I was hooked then. I've been waiting for somebody my whole life to question the press on that.
Yeah.
And Trump, no man could put up with the persecution that man has put up with.
I mean, they tried to put him in prison. They shot him. They tried to shoot him again. They broke into his house.
Oh, God. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, I think you can't even... It's hard to remember everything that's happened.
Yeah, but you know what? He remembers.
Oh yeah. Oh, he remembers. And you know, I had real high hopes that first 4 years, and you could see what he was working, what was working against him in Congress, and everywhere. I mean, everybody was going against him. And this time around, I said, there's only 1 year in. We got 3 more years, and I expect some fantastic things.
Well, you know, are you new to the program?
Yeah, it's the first time I just happened to be scrolling past and I saw this and I said, "Wow!"
Yeah, make sure you subscribe. You won't want to miss an episode of this program. You know when
I will.
You know I was very lucky that I got to go up to see the president on Biden's inauguration day, and I saw him the last 15 minutes of his first term. And of course, we're all up there and we're all sad and everything else and all this crap had happened. And President Trump came by in the Beast, and I was about 5-6 feet from him, and he was grinning ear to ear to ear. and I called my wife. I took a picture, and I got a picture of him, and I sent it to I talked to my wife, and I said, "Does his man look like he's got a worry in the world?" And that was on. He was only going to be president for about 15 more minutes in his first term, and I knew then that Trump always wins, and when he comes back for his, and I knew then he was going to win re-election in 4 years. I talked about it the last 4 years a lot, and I said this, and I talked to Dick Morris about this on the show when he was advising the president, and I brought this up to him because I was hoping he would tell the president, and I said when President Trump comes in for his second non-consecutive term, he's going to have a 100% mandate like FDR had when he came into his first term to get the entire agenda through. And Dick Morris said, "You're right, he will." And here we are. He has a complete mandate. He shut down the border. He did all these things. And look what happened today. They thought they got him today, and he got them. Didn't he?
Yep. And you know, when you said he was grinning from ear to ear.
Yep.
And he knew that election was stolen. That when he was that election, Biden did not win that election.
And let me tell you, that was a sad day because when the president went by after he was smiling, I went over to the airport, and there were a few of us there, and Air Force One was there, and it left Palm Beach without him, and I saw grown men crying. There was one guy who saluted the plane in tears. And you know, so you know what, that was a rough time, and look now, and after everything they did from then to now and everything in between, he just doesn't care of what they think anymore. He doesn't, and he's doing what he knows is right.
Yep, and you know, when I first tuned in, they were talking about the tariffs and the vote on that and everything, and I thought, you know, anything they do, he has the answer already.
That's right.
He's got the answer to it, and he showed us when his speech afterwards talking about it, and it was just fantastic.
Absolutely.
So, you know, for all the haters out there, you know, just keep hating, and all you're doing is you're destroying yourself inside.
That's right.
And you just need to have some hope. And I got nothing but.
Well, no, you got a lot. You added a lot. Well, listen, welcome to the program. Call again. You added a lot to the conversation. All right? All right. Take care.
You.
Take care. Good to hear from you. If you'd like to support my content, become a Patreon supporter. If you become a Patreon supporter, you get access to commercial-free editions of all my podcast episodes. You also get access to exclusive live streams available only to Patreon supporters on the Patreon platform. It's a troll-free zone. And if you become a top Patreon supporter, you get your name up on the screen here on YouTube, and you get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every episode. So the names you'll hear now are my top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Rick, Doris, Irene, Teresa, Janice, Sue, Wes, Rob, Laura, David, Tina, Dale, Frank, John, Brandon, George, Alice, Lee Zepp, Shauna, Heather, David, Maria in Texas, Doris, Wesley, Nick, Pamela, Chuck, ETW, Christine, and SF Jr. These are my top Patreon supporters. Thank you all. There's a link in the description of this episode on whatever platform you're listening on to my Patreon page. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, bud. Love the show. Hello.
Yes. Thank you.
Hey.
Here we go.
So, hey, man. So I was just wanting to get your opinion on it.
My opinion is I have no opinion on that. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
All right, all right, all right. I'm from Kentucky. This is the Luciferian Libertarian here. Hey, lower taxes, a combination of anti-Latino.
Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, I hope you don't mind.
You got a bad cell phone signal? Give me a call back. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Nestor from Florida. How are you?
I'm all right, Florida.
Hey, so Raskin said that Donald Trump's name was in the Epstein files.
Yeah, right. So was Whoopi Goldberg. So what does that mean? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brother Brian IB. Good day, brother.
Hey, IB. Oh, yeah, it's a great day.
Really disappointed in Kavanaugh after all the coals he's been raked over being appointed, and the guy traveled from California to kill him. I don't know why he was not in the gated community.
Yeah.
Question mark. But I'm very disappointed in SCOTUS right now because you know what? Luckily, the bottom line is this: luckily, Trump has precedent, and it doesn't matter what the Supreme Court does.
Why would you be disappointed? President Trump said he's keeping all the tariffs, and he raised all the tariffs 10% today. So we're raking in more money.
No, I'm disappointed in their behavior, but he already had the ace card, the ace of spades.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that their behavior should have known that they shouldn't do that. They should not unveil that they're not on our side 100%.
Yeah.
So this is what I'm talking about. That we got. You know what? Trump should do like a real funny joke like Biden did. Let's pack the Supreme Court in the way of MAGA, and let's see how they're going to flip out.
Well, yeah. You know what they like? What did they call it? Supreme Court reform. Yeah. Why don't we add 3, 4, 5 justices?
Yeah. How you like that, there, Dan?
I like that.
If we just
Supreme Court reform. Yes.
We're going to pack the court.
That's a great idea,
That's
IB.
right.
I like it.
All
All right. Supreme Court reform. Absolutely. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
Goodbye. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You support a pedophile.
No, I support Trump. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, my name is my nickname's Chappie, but
Chappie? Okay.
That signal last time.
Chappie? That's your name? Okay. All right. Go ahead. You're on the air.
Why do you keep hanging up?
Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey,
Chappie. Yeah, Chappie. Go ahead, Chappie.
All right. So I wanted to bring up the one point since one of the last people was talking about corruption. So I'm not talking about allegations here. And if if disputing this is off pure belief, he was convicted without a doubt by a jury of 36 felonies.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
You have an accent. This is not an American accent I'm hearing from you.
No, it's not, but I'm an immigrant.
What kind of accent is this that you have?
I'm from England. I've moved around parts of Britain.
Yeah,
but,
well, here's my response to you. I don't care what any bloody redcoats think about our leaders in the United States. We kicked you guys out in 1776.
Okay, but what about I'm not asking what you think about my opinion. I'm asking what you think about.
I'm thinking that the opinions of. No,
I'm not asking.
I think that opinions of people from England about the United States government.
I didn't give any opinion.
Sure you did. I believe that the opinions. I believe that the opinions of people from England are irrelevant in American politics. We had a corrupt judge and a corrupt jury. The judge's daughter in that case raised $100 million during the trial, promising Democrat donors that Trump was going to go to prison. The judge in that case had open seats in the courtroom that his daughter used to bring high-end donors to so they could see Trump on trial. So we had a corrupt judge and a corrupt jury in New York City. That's what I think.
Okay, well,
but you shouldn't worry about our corrupt government. You come from a country that used to be a great country, and now it's an Islamic state, England. I mean, they're playing the Muslim call to prayer in the halls of Parliament, and it seems to me that you should be more concerned about your country that has collapsed and been conquered.
You seem very hostile. I mean, I just brought up.
Why aren't you? I mean, doesn't it bother you that not only has the British Empire fallen, but England and British culture has been totally destroyed in your own country?
Well, I live here now, so I'm not really concerned.
So you don't care about your homeland? What kind of person are you? You abandon your homeland? You don't care about the fall of your nation?
Well, I'm more concerned with what's happening here, and that's what I'm asking.
Why would someone abandon their nation and not even shed a tear for it falling?
Abandon is a crazy word for that.
Hey, listen, I would thank you for your call, but if I did, I'd be lying. But just to sum up everything, I don't care. I don't care what any redcoats think about it. I would expect redcoats to not approve of what's going on in our country. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
You get me so.
Mm-hmm. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, my name is Dane. I'm from Iowa. I was wondering, do you think Elon Musk has had enough influence in this administration or not?
No, Elon Musk can never have enough influence. You know, he's the richest African-American and the richest man in the world, and he just announced the other day that he has paid more income taxes than any other man who's ever lived in the United States. And a man who can do all those things and send rockets into space, he's got a lot to say that's important. He's a very smart man. Yeah.
Does it bother you that he's in the Epstein files or that Trump is?
Whoopi Goldberg's in the Epstein files. No, none of that bothers me. No. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling me from?
My name is Jim. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I was watching a show. I was flipping through Facebook.
Yeah, I'm sure you were. If you're new to the program, welcome to the program. Make sure that you subscribe. And if you're on hold, stand by. I'll be back sometime over the weekend with another episode, and I'll go to the phones when I'm back. But if you're new, make sure you subscribe. And please like the video before you go, guys. My name's Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I will talk to you next time. Take care.